Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving a bird's eye view of my pregnancy. I've been doing these videos for a while and it got to the point where I wasn't super happy to be talking about my story. To save everybody some time, myself included, I'm going just to give a bird's eye view of my pregnancy in this video, and then the next video I'm going to be doing my birth story with my kid. So at 4 weeks, I found out that I was pregnant. It was when my husband was at work. So I went to the store, I got a little bear, I got a card, and when he came home, I had a little package set up for him. If you guys have ever seen How I Met Your Mother, Barney has his Happy Not a Father's Day thing. We would always joke and use that every time I got my period. But on this day, he opened the card and it said, Happy Not a Father's Day, oops, just kidding. And then there was a little bear, which is actually a bear that my son still has and he plays with all the time. We were really excited, everything was going well, and then if you remember from a previous video, at 5.5 weeks it all fell apart. I was in the ER, not being able to breathe. I was diagnosed with pericarditis and a pericardial effusion. At 6.5 weeks, I was back in the ER, diagnosed with both things I had before, as well as a pleural effusion and pleuritis, which is an inflammation of the lining of the lung. That week, I got into a cardiologist and he put me on very strict bed rest. Apart from going to appointments, I wasn't to do anything. Every time I laughed, cried, sneezed, coughed, or yawned, my lungs would spasm for anywhere from 15 to 60 seconds, and I was not able to take in any more air during that time. It was extremely painful and really scary. At 11 weeks, I went back to the ER because I had started bleeding. With my history of a miscarriage and current health issues, I thought there was no way I could keep this baby. After a few hours in the ER though, they confirmed that the baby was still alive. A few days later, I had an appointment with my high-risk OBGYN and they tried to find the heartbeat. They could not locate it. It was just an external ultrasound, and so they rushed me into an internal ultrasound. We had to wait about 20 minutes for them to get the person that was in there out, but they were able to find the heartbeat. Week 12, my hemoglobin level tanked. I was at 9.8. The doctor rechecked it again after a few days. I was up to a 10.2. He said if it went down to a 10 again throughout my pregnancy, I was going to have a blood transfusion. Week 15, I started my fetal heart echoes because I made the SSA positive antibody, and that can cause heart blocks in the fetuses. Because they were doing an ultrasound at 15 weeks, they went ahead and checked to see if we could find the gender. I found out Leo was a boy. When I got home that day, my husband asked how it went, and he asked if they had found the heartbeat. I said, yep, that's not all they found. He stopped and he said, what else? And I said, a penis. It's a boy. At 16 weeks, they were checking me for preeclampsia, and I had way too much protein in my urine. Later, we found out that that was not due to my pregnancy, but due to undiagnosed lupus nephritis. For anyone who has had to go through this, they know all about peeing in a jug. I had a big, giant orange jug that I had to keep in the fridge to put all of my pee into for 24 hours. They were looking for numbers under 300. Mine was 336. They said they would keep a close eye on it, but they weren't too concerned for the time being. At 20 weeks, they did another fetal heart echo. My son's numbers had always been dead in the center, and this time they started to edge closer to the side we didn't want, the side indicating heart block. My mood tanked. I had already been suffering from depression and anxiety, but after it looked like we had heart block in the fetus, I was inconsolably depressed. I feel like the universe sends you just the right people at just the right time, and I was on my way to my 22nd week fetal heart echo. I had to do these at a children's hospital, and so I'm riding the elevator up because there was no way I was taking the stairs. And there was a gentleman in the elevator looking about middle age, maybe 50s. I had been looking like I was crying because, let's face it, I cried most of my pregnancy. And so he just started kind of making small talk, and then he said, I really hope your kid's okay. And I just kind of nodded. I was looking at the ground. He said, how old's your kid? This is dead of winter. So I looked down at my belly, which is under some sweaters, and I said 22 weeks. And then he said, oh, congratulations. And he gave me a big hug, and then he told me he was praying for me. And at that point, my mood started to go up again. It was like, no matter what happened, everything was going to be okay. I don't know if he was an angel. I don't know if he was just the right person at the right time, but I definitely feel like he was sent to me for that reason. 26 weeks, they had to check for gestational diabetes. I was not able to take the orange liquid because sugar is my #1 trigger. So they sent me home with a diabetes test. I had to test my blood sugar 5 times a day for a period of time to make sure it was not too high. At 30 weeks, I was making dinner. I had been feeling dizzy all day and my belly felt tight. I had been having Braxton Hicks ever since 20 weeks, and so it was not unusual for me to feel that tightness. But this felt very different. I felt like I was going to pass out if I stood up at all. So I called my OBGYN and she asked me to track how far apart the contractions were. They were at 6 minutes. She said she was obviously not comfortable with that, given my stage of pregnancy. She told me to come in to the pregnancy triage and they could check it out. I thought, oh no, I'm definitely fine. I'll just wait for my husband to get off work and then he can take me because I don't want to go myself. I got in there, my cervix was dilating, I was definitely in preterm labor. When they strapped the monitor to my belly, they found that I was actually at 3 minutes contractions. They kept me in the hospital 3 days trying to stop the labor. They were able to stop it. I also got the betamethasone shot for Leo's lungs. At this point, he was 4 pounds. So even if he did come out right then, he would have a pretty good shot. At 32 weeks, I had realized that I had actually lost weight during my pregnancy. I had started at 145 pounds when I first got pregnant, and at 32 weeks, I was also 145 pounds. 33 weeks pregnant, I had a UTI. 35 weeks pregnant, my back molar split. I was flossing my teeth and it was actually, I had a cavity in there a few years back and that filling had split the rest of the tooth off. So I called my dentist and I said, either get me in now or you're not going to get me in at all because I'm not coming back. He was able to get me in the next day. When he was working on my teeth, he kept feeling my fetus kicking him. 36 weeks, another UTI. 37 weeks, something shifted. I already knew that I was going to be induced at 39 weeks. But 37 weeks, I started to actually enjoy my pregnancy for the first time. I liked the little kicks. My pericarditis and pleuritis was still pretty bad, but I had had it at this point for almost 9 months, so I was completely used to it. And 39 weeks, after one hell of a journey, my little baby boy breathed his first breath of air. In the next video, I'll talk about my birth story and the crazy adventures we went on there. But as of right now, Leo is about to turn 3 years old. He is friendly. He loves crawling into my bed in the middle of the night and then spending that time until the morning. I've also talked to his dad, and apparently he does the same thing at his house. Ryan and I got divorced when Leo was just about a year old, and we work really well together to make sure Leo sees both parents as often as possible. Leo sees me almost every day, and he sees his dad almost every day. He is healthy and strong, and he stands head and shoulders above his peers at preschool. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful or the pregnancy journey that you're going through. If you want to reach out, you can either comment here and I'll get back with you, or DM me on Instagram. It's @ToriBrame, just my name. I would love to talk with you more, and I hope you're doing great. Thanks so much. At 4 weeks, I peed on a stick and got 2 lines that indicated that I was pregnant. Duh. That week I got into a cardiology at 36 weeks because sugar is my #1 trigger.